Hi everyone, welcome back to Project No Buy. In today's video, we're going to be reacting to home decor on TikTok. Alright, so again, we are in that topic of why we want what we want, why I want what I want, or used to want what I used to want. And this time we're focusing specifically on the home decor. And boy, this is going to be a little bit of a wild ride, or maybe not. Maybe I'm exaggerating. You'll just have to watch and find out. I want to preface this with saying something about some comments that I got on the decluttering video, where I made a comment about how I didn't think it was great that one of the creators who was doing a pantry declutter wanted the clear storage containers for her food and to decant things like that. And I did get some comments about how the food containers are actually helpful and positive and etc. My point was that this creator, it seemed like she wanted these things because she had seen them online and thought it was aspirational and aesthetic to have these containers rather than them fulfilling a specific function in her life. And that is kind of the vibe of these home decor TikToks that we're going to look at today. So let's go ahead and get started. I've got quite a few of them lined up for you today. Again, focusing on that topic of why we want what we want and whether it's actually serving us to want things in this way. So this first one is titled Part 1 of Making My Home Cozier on a Budget.
I woke up in 2025 and I decided, you know what, I'm tired of my house not feeling very homey or inviting. So welcome to part 1 of making my house feel a little bit cozier on a budget. We're starting with the kitchen, and this is what it was looking like before. As you can see, not a lot going on. There's not a lot of character and charm, so let's fix that. I knew I wanted to add some cafe curtains to this little window, so I got a little tension rod and some hooks. I originally found some fabric at the fabric store, but then I stumbled upon these $3 towels and I decided just to go with this because I didn't have to sew them and I liked the color a little bit better. I wanted a rail above my oven. This one was a little too brassy, so we spray painted it, added some command strips, and stuck it to the tile because I was a little bit nervous to commit to drilling it in. Then came the fun part. I'm honestly so excited to be able to add in different seasonal mugs. So fun. Okay, this area is probably my favorite. I don't love a lot of clutter on the countertops, but I did want one little designated spot to be able to style. So excited to have a cozy little lamp too. I wanted to bring in some warmth, so I got this little tray and some fun soap. We love Home Goods for that. I did already have this vase with utensils on it, but I thought this was a fun way to spice it up a little bit with the books and the salt and pepper shakers. By the way, I thrifted those like 2 years ago and I totally forgot about them. Then I added this cute rug. I'm honestly not sure why I didn't already have a rug here. It's the easiest way to cozy up a space. And then yeah, it's just time for finishing touches. Now, obviously nothing here was a drastic change, but I do feel like those few little changes were enough to make it feel less like a hospital and more like a cozy little home. I really am a firm believer that just because you live in a small space or home doesn't mean you can't make it cute and special. This refresh gave me the boost that I needed, and I'm going to be sharing a few more spaces in my house, so follow along.
Okay, so all in all, I don't actually know how many of you will find this video offensive. There are a lot of what one could say positive things here, right? She's thrifting things, she's doing things on a budget, she's DIYing some things. On the surface, I don't necessarily have a lot of issues with this myself either. It is a little interesting how she's sharing, you know, I woke up in 2025 one day and wanted to make my house cozier. All right, it's not something that we necessarily need, or I guess what I'm saying there is that it feels like she's saying that suddenly she woke up one day and felt like there was some deficiency in the house that she had, right? Or in the setup that she had. And this happens to all of us, right? We go through these periods of feeling a little bit kind of deficient or feeling like something's missing, and we sometimes rush to fill that void with stuff. And again, I'm not saying that I have huge qualms with how this creator did it in her video here, because on the whole, it's, you know, there are some less sustainable parts of it for sure, but there is also a lot of hopefully using things that she already had, you know, like hopefully those books and the decorations above the oven and things like that. A lot of these things could be things that she already had and is maybe not representative of over-consumerism in the way that a lot of these videos are. And again, what I typically do for these videos is I just type in the prompt, you know, home decor in this case, and go with some of the more popular examples on the homepage. So I'm not cherry picking. I am giving my response to what is genuinely out there in what I hope is a balanced way. I'm not trying to go for videos with shock value at this point in time. You know, this is not the Amazon must-haves of home decor. There's definitely a lot of that here as well. So the things that just stuck out to me with this video is that the before of this person's home is totally fine and the after is also fine. And it's an interesting state of the world, state of society that we live in, where we see the inside workings of a stranger's home like this, of a stranger's mind like this, of the one day I woke up and I thought my kitchen needed some cozying. You know, like that's a little bit odd to see in this kind of internal window like this. And I do think it opens the door, especially when we see these examples that are more reasonable like this, to considering emulating these examples and buying things that we don't need. And again, this is where I might be labeled as some kind of Scrooge because I'm raining on this person's parade. I'm not trying to rain on her parade, right? Like I have no problems with anything she did here, but I am just commenting on the outside as far as how it affects somebody who, like me in years past, might have seen this and thought, oh, this is a very reasonable example. It's budget friendly. She's using towels for these little curtains. And maybe I wouldn't have thought through how the towels maybe didn't fit my aesthetic or didn't give the vibe that I wanted to because, I've never really wanted a window curtain on my kitchen area or something, like these things are not things that I would have thought to want necessarily, the hanging shelf over the oven. And the way of presenting it in this reasonable way is kind of lulling me into that false sense of security of like, ooh, maybe I should want a rack over my oven like that. Would that make my home look more cozy? And would that make my home look more designed? Would having more stuff give the vibe that I have my life together or am a better cook or have more style, like this little space for styling in the kitchen? And I just feel like this is the gateway to a slippery slope. And, speaking of slippery slopes, let's move on to some more videos and see where we end up. So this one is very interesting to me because not only is it a stark contrast from the first one, right, where the first one seems reasonable, it seems normal, it seems gently aspirational but not pushy. This one feels very pushy. It feels like every kind of product, influencer hyped product is in this video in some way, shape, or form, or kind of that everything featured here. I think most of it is affiliate linked. There were comments about how, oh, the plug books are sold out right now, or, these products that people are looking for and interested in are not available through the links or whatever it might be. The books, with the fake plug hiders. Again, these are things that are very much first world problem products. I personally don't have anything hiding the plugs by my nightstands. We just kind of tuck them under the bed or behind the bed or whatever, or in the little cubby of the nightstand. And we're also not in the habit of being bothered by this kind of visual clutter. And again, I know there are people out there who feel strongly about this and hiding their cables and cords and things. And I'm not trying to suggest that you are an overconsumer just because you care about the looks of things like this, the details. That's not really what I'm trying to say here. But this is certainly something that a lot of people would not have thought of if they hadn't seen it on this video. And the comments prove that. There are comments here that say, oh, I never thought of the book thing before. What a great idea. And again, great idea for this very first world problem. Again, we have this magnetic pill organizer with little individual cubbies for each day of the week, which I know those have been a thing for a long time. At least I know when I was a kid, they had those little plastic strip ones, and I'm sure that they can help people remember to take their medication on each given day. I'm not knocking that, but this specific version does feel like it's a lot of plastic and a lot of components. And again, it's been hyper aestheticized. So like the font, the colors, and it's very sneakily and neatly kind of enfolded into this sales pitch of affiliate links, in my humble opinion. So we have the rose quartz eye mask and the pillow spray next. These are products that I would have used to have fallen for and in this realm, products like this. that I had no previous use case for and no history of wanting very much, and may have just seen in something like this and thought, oh, that's a good idea. Something that comes to mind for me in my life is one of those gua shas, like the facial kind of sculpting things. I think I had a rose quartz one. I might still have it in my nightstand, ironically. But I never really wanted one, like it wasn't something I'd heard about before seeing it on influencers. And it's something that I don't regularly use, and I never really got into the habit. And I'm not opposed to people having that habit again, but in my experience, this is the kind of thing that you see, you want, it's cute, it looks aesthetic, it makes that AMSR noise when you touch it with your fake nails, but it's just not something that you use regularly, and it ends up collecting dust. That thing actually probably does collect a lot of dust with all the crevices in it, and it's not actually that practical. You're going to lay down and put that on your eyes, and then what? That's going to be good for 5-10 minutes, and then you're going to take it off and move on with your day. And, same kind of deal with the pillow spray. I have become sensitive to fragrances. I would not want to have more sprays or more kind of whatever it is, even if it's essential oils or anything, chemicals or not. I would not want to have more of that in my pillow area when I'm trying to sleep. And I would rather keep my bedding fresh by regularly washing things. So not products that I think certainly not are necessary for me in my life. The lotion dispenser just seems really impractical. And again, like a lot of packaging that you're gonna have to scrape the product off afterwards. We have a pitcher of water and a glasses case holder and a phone holder, all of which are very aesthetic. You know how I feel about the mini trash cans, right? Like, just no. I talked about this in the Amazon must-haves, must-stop video where there was a car trash can. I can't do it with the mini trash cans. I have larger trash cans in my house. I didn't know that it would be on my bingo card for 2025 to talk about how many trash cans are normal for each household and which rooms legitimately need a trash can. In my house, we have little trash cans in the bathrooms for bathroom-related products. The toilet paper. Actually, we recycle the toilet paper cardboard, so those don't even go in there. But some people in my house use the floss picks rather than floss. I know it's not the most sustainable with the plastic, but there we are. We can't be perfect. And my husband refuses to stop using Q-tips. And so, we have bathroom trashes for those things. Wipes, you can't really flush those, so we've got those. And we have a big household trash in the kitchen and recycling. And so that's what we have. 2 mini trash cans and a big trash can. And that's what I would consider normal. Having a mini trash can in your nightstand drawer is not something I would consider normal or even necessary and desirable. It's just another trash that you have to then empty and keep little bags in, or wash if you don't keep little bags in, which in this case the creator does have a little bag in there. So again, just not something I can get on board with. Again, with that canon of inserting little packets of things into drawers. A moisture stick, apparently. Again, what can this do that regular moisturizer doesn't do? A Rhode lip treatment, again, viral influencer brand right there. A scrunchie, a hair clip. It looks like one of those really popular brands of hair clip. And again, I know these things because I used to be influenced by these things. And so this is like so many little products right there that you can be attracted to, the aesthetic as a whole at large, with the pink, the pastels. This is just things that nobody really needs, and it's not normal to have all of this, and it's becoming normalized by seeing it online. And kind of like what I said about the first video, like the first video is gently normalizing these things or suggesting these things as normal with a normal person doing it in a budget-friendly way and kind of DIY. The second example is normalizing them in an influencer way, where it's like, here's an explosion of products that you don't really need, nobody really needs, but they look nice, and maybe you want to consider buying one or two. And if you buy all of these, then your life will look as aesthetic and pretty as mine, and you'll have the same nightstand. You can have the same nightstand, you can buy all the stuff. You can't have the life, or, it's not going to give you the life to buy all the stuff. And I am reassured to at least see in the comment section that there are comments to the effect of, it's giving capitalism. My bed just asked if we're poor. This is not a relatable thing. This is stressful. So many things. I'm 62 years old and have never organized my nightstand. And I'm okay with that. Unfortunately, there are also the comments that say, I'm sad the book cord organizer is out of stock. This is the first time I wanted to buy every single thing in a TikTok video. So there's not a case across the board of people awakening to these false normalizations of all the stuff that we see presented by influencers online. But there is a little bit of it there, so that does give me hope. This next video was just funny to me, and it'll be interesting to see if you agree with me or not. You can let me know in the comments below. The caption here says, "Little change, big difference." And it was a copyrighted song there, so you might have just heard a little bit of a viola pop cover. I honestly could not tell you what the difference was. Like, I had to go back and compare because I did not see a big difference. Maybe that's just me, but she changed the container for the utensils. The final one is like a pitcher of some kind, like a stoneware. The first one is like a marble, and the vibe to me is very similar. So let me know what you think about that. And of course, tagging Amazon Home there. Budget-friendly Amazon finds. We're starting to get into that pipeline. It might even be rage bait, actually. I did not open the comments on that, but I wonder if that's rage bait. Sticking with the Amazon, the next video is what I ordered versus what I got, Amazon edition. Let's watch. Okay, so this is the start of starting to see some of the same or very, very similar products in these home decor videos. Similar aesthetics, certainly. Even in the first video versus this video, there are some similarities, right? Even though the approaches are very different. This person just ordered a bunch of stuff on Amazon. So we had that countertop over the washer dryer for more storage there, or for aestheticizing the laundry room. Our laundry room doesn't look anything like this. Aesthetic laundry rooms are kind of an online phenomenon, I feel like. Comment if you have experience with this, if your laundry room is nice to look at or not. I'd be curious to know if this is normal in real life. Please tell me it's not. Please tell me this isn't normal. I feel like this is something that's becoming more and more prevalent online though, right? The restocks of the detergents, of the fabric softeners, or whatever it is people use. I use strips, detergent strips. I try to use low packaging options, so that's all I have. And yeah, I certainly don't have the wooden table or anything like that. The next thing is a bench, a cabinet with a lamp on it that looks very similar to the one we saw in the nightstand restock. Another lamp for the kitchen, another kind of bench table. These kind of fixtures are reminding me a little bit of an art museum. Maybe part of it was the actual art on the walls, but it kind of gives me that neutral, maybe a little devoid of personality kind of aesthetic. Lamps and bar stools and chairs. There's this olive tree that I think is going to come back from Amazon. So this is like an artificial plant. Chest of drawers and a lamp. A rug. Another rug, and a closet organizer. So it just feels like this person went on Amazon and purchased a whole house furnishing kit, basically, right? Furniture, rugs, chairs. I find this method of furnishing a place to be, like I just said, devoid of personality, and also, I don't know the prices of these things, but I will say that when we moved into this house, and whenever we've moved into any places, we have gone about furnishings one thing at a time, and also slowly, and not even necessarily with sustainability in mind. We were, if we're truly looking for budget-friendly finds, right, which is not necessarily the lens of this video. I don't know if they're claiming to be budget-friendly or if it's just what I ordered versus what I got. But we were in a position that we needed budget-friendly finds. And so we had free couches, and one of these couches we still have in one of our living areas today in our kind of nice forever house, maybe, depending on if we ever move again. We had this chair is an IKEA chair that was given to us by a friend who was moving for free again. Or we might have paid her $20 or something just as a token of appreciation. And, she was trying to get rid of it. A lot of our furniture, we built our bed frame ourselves. And again, we can't really get more personal than that. Even if the actual bed is, it wouldn't be out of place in an influencer video. You might have seen glimpses of it in my spoof vlog for April Fools. And, you know, I didn't film it aesthetically, right? So it's not, I don't have that skill. I'm not dismissing the actual skill that it takes to make aesthetic videos to influence people, right? Like, it is a skill to get the right angles and the right lighting and the right collection of stuff, right? Like, it is kind of like the art of marketing in a way. And I do have a video coming later in the summer probably about how I do think influencing on the whole is a job that has a net negative impact on society. And so therefore you can even argue that it's maybe a little bit unethical, but I'm gonna unpack that later. I am not dismissing the skill that influencers do have to create their content. And so, you know, while I might have some of the fixtures that match some of these aesthetics in these videos, it is carefully crafted, and a carefully crafted sales pitch, no less, with all of the Amazon affiliate links here. And I think what tends to happen, and what we are probably going to see in this video, is that a lot of these aesthetics look strikingly similar. A lot of the exact items even are exactly the same. And it's just a little bit dystopian. It takes the personality out of furnishing your own home, of collecting things one piece at a time from maybe flea markets or thrift stores or friends moving, or, you know, even off the curb in some cases. And I am probably preaching to the choir. You know, anybody watching this video has probably gone through some of these methods of furnishing their house rather than purchasing everything on Amazon in one fell swoop. But it's, you know, presenting this as normal again is just not something that I think is positive for society. That's the bottom line. Okay, this next video is console table decor. Let's watch. Okay, so again, a list of small offenses here, but offenses nonetheless. So we have the console table, which I question the function of this in the first place. I assume that the bowl there is for things like your keys, you know, like maybe it's kind of like a drop zone. Our house came with, I guess, what's called the drop zone, which is just like a little table in the corner on the entryway to the garage. And we have not decorated it. There is a little tray where my husband leaves his keys and phone charger, and that is it. We don't have the books, the candles, the little marble vase and plant or anything, nor do we feel the need for those things. And again, I'm not condemning you if you feel the need to decorate your space like this. I'm not condemning people decorating their spaces in ways that they like and appreciate and feel like home. But there are some questions I have regarding this particular setup. And there's, you know, look, maybe I'm not arguing about overconsumption in these examples so far, except maybe the nightstand. But when we look at some of these items, you know, like a book about homes, home design, what kind of function is that having on your console table, right? Like, your book is literally part of your decorations. I think the previous video about the Amazon stuff also had a book about home decor in the cabinet that they showed. And it's a little bit weird. Like, I'm not sure, maybe these are home decor channels and maybe it's on brand for these influencers, but it does strike me as a little bit odd and not applicable to the everyday viewer. However, you're not going to get the same look if you have your own book under the bowl next to the marble plant or artificial plant stem holder. You know, like, you won't get that look unless you have the home decor kind of very stylized book there. So I feel like, again, it's another trap to fall into, where if you want this exact look, the easiest way to get it is to buy the exact stuff and to follow this channel and look for everything she buys for her whole house. You know, like, I just don't feel like this decor advice is the same as legitimate home decor advice that kind of educates you on how to make small changes to your actual space. Like, this is just advice on what to buy and how to style the things that you buy, you know, like just getting things off the rack, off of Amazon. The other things that I have major questions about are these candles. I understand the aesthetic, you know, people like the look of candles. Why do we need fake electric candles? Are they actually providing light? Are they actually providing ambiance? I understand the fire hazard of real candles, but I question this. I feel like it's a lot of, maybe small electronic devices aren't as resource intensive as I think, but maybe they are. Like, I have the impression that this kind of waste is not to be encouraged. And just logically thinking through it, right? Like, this has to take batteries and energy. And to me, this is not a worthy use of batteries and energy. Like, it doesn't provide any function. There's no actual lighting happening here. It's just an ambiance for this very specific area of the home that you're not really spending time in. And I just think this is taking it a step too far. Just because we can doesn't mean we should, in other words. And again, maybe I'm just being a huge Scrooge in this video. The last thing, the baskets with the pillows in them. What are we doing with pillows in baskets under the console table? Like, do these pillows have any function? Are we using the pillows anywhere, like for back support, or do they go on the couch at any point in time? Like, I am left with a lot of questions, and I am left unsatisfied with why those pillows and baskets are there, other than to just have something to pitch to viewers, right? Like a product you can link as an affiliate product to say that your console table is complete and suggest that viewers might want to buy these things too. It's just too much. The next video is about this question of making your house look expensive. And again, I have all kinds of problems with the desire to look expensive for the sake of it, but let's watch the video and see what they recommend. Okay, so we saw some actual advice here. Paint your doors, install full height backsplashes, have plants. It does seem a little bit like an excuse to show off all of the expensive things in our house. Like, I do think part of this is actually expensive, and that's kind of not what is emphasized in this video, right? Like, I don't think this is a collection of hacks that's going to work with just any house. And that's... Again, maybe, sorry, I'm laughing. And maybe this is going to be a hot take. Maybe, again, I am being too negative in this video. But it just strikes me that this house has a baseline level of being expensive already. And that's why these tricks or tips or whatever are doing anything at all. And on the average kind of house that's out there, I was going to say entry level, but I think even beyond entry level, right? They're not all this styled. They're not all having this layout. They don't all have this kind of design built in, right? There's a lot more to it than just these few tips and tricks. Let's move on. This is another one where it seems like it's a normal person, but again, there's just some sneaky suggestions of tendencies to use stuff in certain ways that I just don't totally vibe with. So she's putting up shelves, she's putting up fixtures to put stuff in, to hang stuff in. Again, nothing against beautifying your space, against having personal touches. A lot of these are Amazon finds. I can tell you that as a fact. I know some of these, I have that cup from Amazon. Follow for the dining nook, follow along for more stuff that you can start wanting and buying and purchasing, right? We have a little bit more personality in the style here, which actually in this case is almost more dangerous because the stuff is very marketable to the right people. And again, at the right time, if you caught me with some of this stuff, I would be very attracted to this and very tempted to go browsing. There's a checkered tea kettle up there. There's flowers. It looks really nice and cozy, and a heart-shaped decorations on the coffee thing, and matches and aesthetic match holders. There's so much aesthetic nice things in here. And again, a lot of it just happens to be available to purchase on Amazon. And to reiterate, these glimpses into people's houses that we don't actually know or have that personal connection with is not normal. And is not something that's happened until more recently with this advent of short-form social media, and also the incentive to pitch products online in order to make a living, in order to make money. And it is, to me, this kind of bizarre dystopia where stuff and aesthetics and style and home decor becomes this kind of status symbol, as well as something that you want to create an aspirational front for, so that you can then turn around and sell it to other people and generate income by doing so. And so even these more normal examples or more personalized feeling examples are kind of hiding behind this front of, this can make me money, even if it's a creator who's not yet making money. But to do this kind of product influencing, I guess, or aspirational product showcasing with the goal or the intention to eventually be an influencer, I just think is its own kind of slippery slope. Okay, this next video is pretty similar. Again, I'm going to talk over it. If you like neutral, cozy, affordable, follow this channel basically. Again, we have the baskets with the pillows and blankets in for this, what looks like a console table, which again, like just strikes me as a little bit weird. Did I spot the candles? We gotta go back. Yeah, so there's those candles again. I don't know if these are real or the electronic versions. It does look like the flames are flickering in the video, so maybe they're real. But how coincidental is it that here on this entry table, entry cabinet, we have that marble vase? It's not the same vase, but a marble vase with plants, faux plants in it, or dried plants in this case, and 3 candlesticks. And in the same video, we had the basket with the pillow in it and a blanket, a bunch of little pumpkins, maybe it's fall time when this video was made. So again, we just see how the aesthetics start to get more and more similar. What we see online is just the same thing over and over again. And we are able to be influenced in this way. I think the more we see something, the more we think, oh, maybe we should try it. Maybe we should take some of that on board. Okay, the next video is a specifically girly kitchen setup. Let's see. I think you know what's coming.
Okay, so I moved into my house about a year ago, and this is everything that I did to my kitchen to transform it into like my pink Barbie dream house kitchen. I already know you guys like the pink smeg, but the reason I didn't go with pink is because I feel like cream was more of like a timeless color, and I feel like since I went with cream appliances, I was
Did you spot those same mugs that we saw in the other video? Again, Amazon fine.
able to add color with other decorations. So first I set up my tea station, and then for my paper towels, I didn't want them on my kitchen counter, so I put them under my kitchen sink. And then one of my favorite parts about my kitchen is the curtain that I hung on the window. I put this cute little bow curtain, and I seriously think it's so adorable. I also did pink knives because I felt like they were so cute. And then I found this pink bread box, which I usually don't put bread in it. I just put like random stuff in it for storage. And then these are the bar stools that I picked up for my counter. I kept it neutral, and I usually decorate them with cute little chair pads. I also put these pink placemats, and I also did a little matcha tray situation because I am obsessed with matcha. It's so bad. And then like 10 million years later, my fridge finally decided to show up. I got this cream vintage one, and I know some of y'all have mixed opinions about it, but I think it's cute. Like, I feel like it matches the vibe of everything. I also got all of this cute tableware, and I organized it in my cabinet. And also I got most of this stuff off Amazon, but these are all the plates and bowls I decided to go with, and I love how they all match. I also got pink spice containers for my spices. This was also so much fun for me to do and so satisfying. I think it's because in my mom's house we don't do stuff like this. Like, all the spices are just thrown inside the cupboard. So I feel like this was my chance to organize in the way that I wanted to, and this was just so much fun, and the containers are so adorable. But I just went through all the spices and put it in the jar, and then I put this little organization tray and lined it up like this. I love the little pink caps on the spice containers, and then I also put these pink bowls next to it. I also organized all my silverware in this drawer, and of course everything is pink. And I know some of y'all said this isn't storage, but when you grow up in a brown household, this is storage. And this is basically how everything ended up turning out like.
Okay, in this video, the creator actually touched on something that I think is one of the themes of, I don't want to say themes of overconsumption, but themes of what happens when we get to buy what we want. When we turn into adults or become adults and earn money and have the means, whether it's through actually having money or going into debt or whatever, to get the things that we want, the things that we didn't have as kids, the things that our family didn't do. And so she was talking about that in relation to the spices, where she said in her household they just didn't do that stuff growing up. I mean, neither did I, and I still don't do it now. And again, I'm not saying that it's fundamentally wrong for people to like this and to want to do this. I mean, heck, when I see this video, I want all that stuff. I want the pink Barbie dream house kitchen. And I guess part of me is still kind of, I don't want to say I'm influenced by this. I'm very much of the mindset that that's not where I want to spend my time and my efforts and my money. And I know for a fact now, after a couple of years of trying Project No Buy, that I could buy all of this stuff and I wouldn't feel the same. I wouldn't feel like this video looks. And there would come a day that I woke up and I thought, I probably don't like this anymore and I want to change something. Or there would come a day that I saw a different aesthetic on TikTok and would maybe be attracted to that more and not like the Barbie pink dream house kitchen as much. And You know, this has never really been an issue for me, partly because of the cost barrier of entry. And so I have never had enough money. I've never had enough money to just do a full kitchen setup in one fell swoop like this. And nor do I think it's normal for most people to have this kind of situation in their lives where they just choose everything that matches at the same time with the same aesthetic in mind. And I think the other thing that strikes me is that I think this is an apartment, and that means she's going to have to move all of this at some point. And, you know, maybe that's a non-issue for a lot of people, but for me, I like to be able to travel lightly, and that means not having the spice containers because it eliminates that ability to use up the spices and get rid of the containers and be able to travel lightly that way, right? Like I now have this stash of spice containers with labels that I have to take with me or pass on in some conscious way, right? Like I wouldn't want to just throw those away. And same with all the plates, all the spatulas, all the, you know, like it looks beautiful. It's got the capacity to influence, you know, that's for sure. Like I see this, I like it, I want it, I'm not going to buy it. I do worry that people younger than me, you know, young people, young adults who are maybe more impressionable or just starting out think that this is normal and aspirational to the extent that they'll do whatever it takes to get it in some ways or, you know, buy things that maybe they shouldn't or can't responsibly afford. Okay, no, she didn't say it's a house, so maybe she doesn't need to move. But I guess even so, whenever I've moved, and even moving into this house, which is my first house, I brought everything from previous apartments with me and will use it up until I can't use it anymore. And so my appliances don't match. I don't have the aesthetic set up for my kitchen, but that's okay. You know, that's fine with me. Again, the Smeg appliances, like, I hope they last. I hope they're not designed for planned obsolescence. I hope they're all they're cracked up to be. But again, it is a question of should we be paying this much if they're not guaranteed? You know, if they don't actually, is the value in the brand, I guess is my question there. I don't know about them, so this is not me having shade. You can let me know in the comments if the Smeg appliances are actually worth it. I'm not going to buy any, but you can let me know. But yeah, I mean, I just don't think it's realistic for most people. Okay, on that note, I have a few more Amazon videos that we're going to whiz through with some commentary on top, and we're going to end with a normal house tour, which I was really excited to see fairly prominently on the homepage. So hopefully we can all be reassured by this last video. So first, breezing through the Amazon videos, affordable Amazon home decor, because no arena is safe from the Amazon finds, the Amazon must-haves. So again, we have another olive tree under $50, the upholstered bed, pom-pom stems, look at that. You know, that's where everybody's getting their fake plants, pillow covers, high-end rugs, a fluted bowl. And again, the bowl's on top of some books. Are they home decor books? The world may never know. For the love of white. Things I would buy again from Amazon. Flame oil diffuser, neon rope light, we're going so fast, an arch mirror, the olive tree again, curtains, brass candle holders, disco balls, rechargeable lamps, a brass kitchen faucet, shoe cabinet, candle warmer lamp, throw pillow covers, automatic trash bin, jute rug, favorite iced coffee glasses, light strips, comment shop for links. Did you see anything you like there and want to buy? Did you notice how that home aesthetic looked very similar to a lot of the other ones we were seeing? Some of the products are even the same. I think we once again had the 3 candles set up on a console table. Did we have a pillow in a basket? I don't know. We're going to move on. Amazon favorites, decorative boxes, because you gotta have boxes for your remotes, just like your plug holder. Eucalyptus stems, concrete bowls, a book stand, so you can have your coffee table book open. Ah, it's the fake candles again. The flower planters, fluffy duvet inserts, a rug. Best Amazon finds of 2024. It's that table again, so you can make your washer dryer into an aesthetic storage table. Bins for your acrylic storage. Jewelry pouches. Charging station with a stand. Oh, is that another home decor book? Ah, a Stanley accessory. This goes beyond homeware. Ironing table. We actually don't have an iron. Fun fact. I will just be wrinkled and rumpled. I'm not saying you have to be. Ah, was that a caraway pan? Oh no. It was, and she's actually got some all-clad pans stored inside it. You might scratch the enamel storing them like that. Don't do that. The Amazon paper towel holder with the spray. I've seen that before in other creators' videos. So again, same stuff, similar items. Yeah. And again, it's just that repeated exposure. It might get you. It might have me thinking that I need that olive tree in the corner of my room, or a nice little 3 candlestick setup on my nightstand right there so I can look aspirational just like these videos. Sorry for the sarcasm, but that's just... I can't help it, I guess. I am a salty old millennial, and I just don't like to see this anymore. What I do like to see, though, is these examples normalizing the state of things. Let's watch this last one. Okay, so I know some of this is because this creator has kids and there are some kind of kid memorabilia out, paraphernalia, whatever. But there are some things that I'm extremely happy to see that apply to the general population, right? Mismatched towels, laundry room that doesn't have the fancy table on top because it's a top loader, you know, like it's not prioritizing aesthetics over everything else. Kitchen drawers that are kind of jumbled, a freezer and fridge that don't have a bunch of organizers in and just have Tupperware and plasticware, cords out and exposed in plain sight, you know? What a novelty. And I appreciate creators like this a lot for sharing a house that looks a lot more like mine and not making me feel like I should be buying something. And, you know, this creator doesn't appear to have an ulterior motive of trying to sell something or trying to be a design-oriented channel. And I know that there's some value in the design-oriented influencing. I know, right? Like, I'm not totally throwing that out the window. And I'm not saying that the videos with legitimately helpful tricks, tips, design, advice, I'm not saying that those need to go away or that that kind of influencing is bad. Or even the ones that have the advice and product recommendations. I'm not saying it's all on the same footing, right? I did used to actually watch a lot of design videos on YouTube, like long form. There were a couple of creators that I enjoyed watching. You know, some of the home makeovers are fun to watch. But a lot of times, I mean, I think long form content, for one, enables a lot more context. And so you're less likely to be just kind of assaulted by these repeated examples of the same kind of aesthetic, right? Again, I didn't cherry pick. I didn't type in any aesthetic keywords, or I didn't even type in Amazon. This is the balance of results on the homepage right now for me when I just type in home decor. It might be different for you, but from my experience, this is in line with the type of content that I used to see when I was on the short form social media platforms, just scrolling, you know, not particularly in the home decor niche, but whenever something came up from that niche, it would be kind of like this, with a lot of Amazon products that I could buy and kind of the neutral stoneware, kind of high end, you know, looking expensive, that kind of aesthetic. And so this is what I feel like is the dilution of our society, or perhaps the direction of our society, into products that can be sold and aesthetics that can be marketed. And I guess that's pretty much all I have to say about home decor on TikTok. This is my reaction. This is things that I used to want and be influenced by. And with that, I guess I will close out this video for today. I would love to hear your thoughts on this one. I know I was probably a little bit negative. I probably did that thing again where I laughed a little bit and made it look like I have some kind of problem or I'm being sarcastic. I'll try to edit all that out. Sorry, I just did it again. Oh my gosh. Okay, I better say goodbye before I dig myself even deeper into this hole. All right, bye for now. See you in the next one.